Have you ever wondered why a normal AM radio signal occupies about 6 kHz of bandwidth, while a single sideband signal uses only about half that? How can two systems carry the same human voice, yet one requires only a fraction of the spectrum? Where did the rest of the signal go? Did engineers discover a way to compress speech? Or is there something entirely different happening? To understand those questions, we first need to understand something many radio operators use every day but never stop to think about. Where do sidebands actually come from? Imagine a transmitter operating on exactly 14.200 MHz. No microphone, no voice, no modulation, just a pure radio frequency carrier. Now let's make one small change. Instead of speaking into the microphone, let's inject a single 1 kHz audio tone. Now let's pause for a moment. What do you expect to happen? Well, most people imagine the audio simply rides on top of the carrier. The instant modulation begins, something remarkable happens. Your original 14.2 MHz carrier is still there, but now two entirely new radio frequencies suddenly appear. One appears exactly 1 kHz above the carrier, the other appears exactly 1 kHz below it. One above, one below, perfectly synchronized. The modulation process itself created these new radio frequencies. These newly created frequencies have names. The frequency above the carrier is called the upper sideband. The frequency below the carrier is called the lower sideband. Together, the carrier, the upper sideband, and the lower sideband form a conventional AM signal, but we've only used a single audio tone. But there is one important difference. Your voice is not a single tone. Every word you speak contains hundreds of different audio frequencies, all occurring at the same time. Some frequencies are low, some are high, some are much stronger than others, and they are constantly changing as you speak. Each one of these audio frequencies creates its own pair of sidebands. Not just one pair, hundreds of pairs, all at the same time. Together, those hundreds of individual sidebands blend together, forming one complete upper sideband and one complete lower sideband. This is what actually carries your voice. Now comes the surprising part. If you carefully examine these two sidebands, you'll discover something remarkable. They both contain exactly the same voice information. They are mirror images of one another. Either one contains everything needed to reproduce your speech. Both sidebands are carrying the same conversation. That raises an interesting question. If either sideband contains the entire conversation, why transmit both? We have just discovered something remarkable. Both sidebands contain the entire conversation. Either one is capable of reproducing your speech. So why did engineers ever transmit both? And while we are asking questions, why transmit the carrier at all? To answer those questions, we have to travel back nearly 100 years to a time when radio receivers looked very different than they do today. Back then, radio receivers were built with vacuum tubes. Because of the limitations and costs of vacuum tubes, those receivers needed a simple way to receive speech from the transmitter. If the transmitter sent the carrier along with both sidebands, the receiver did not have to recreate the missing carrier or use complicated circuitry to recover the speech. Instead, it could extract the audio with an incredibly simple design, just a diode, a capacitor, and a resistor. That made AM radio much simpler and less expensive to build, especially at a time when every additional vacuum tube added considerable costs, heat, and complexity. But electronics didn't stand still. As radio technology improved, engineers developed receivers capable of doing something that had once been impossible. They no longer needed the transmitter to send a carrier. The receiver simply recreated the missing carrier internally. It then combined that locally generated carrier with the received sidebands sent from the transmitter, allowing the detector to recover the original speech. That changed everything. If the receiver no longer needed the transmitted carrier, there was no reason to waste transmitted power sending it. But engineers didn't stop there. They asked another question. If either sideband contains the entire conversation, why transmit both? The answer was that they didn't have to. They transmit one sideband, discard the other, didn't transmit the carrier, and suddenly the bandwidth is cut nearly in half. The transmitter's power is concentrated into a single sideband instead of being divided among the carrier and two sidebands. This is exactly what amateur radio uses today. At this point, you might be wondering, if either sideband contains the entire conversation, why do amateur radio operators sometimes use upper sideband and sometimes use lower sideband? By long-standing international convention, amateurs normally use lower sideband on the 160, 80, and 40 meter bands. On 20 meters and all HF bands above 20 meters, upper sideband became the accepted operating standard. There is no technical advantage to one over the other. The convention simply keeps everyone using the same sideband, making communication much easier. Now, if every operator should choose whichever sideband they preferred, many stations would simply never hear one another. So let's return to the question we asked at the very beginning. Why does single sideband use so little bandwidth? It isn't because your voice was compressed. It isn't because half of your speech was removed. It is because engineers found a more efficient way to transmit the same voice information. Your voice still creates the same collection of audio frequencies. Those audio frequencies still create sidebands, but instead of transmitting the carrier on both sidebands, SSB transmits only one complete sideband. What changed was the engineering. Your voice still creates the same bandwidth, but engineers discovered they didn't need to transmit all of them. Once receivers became capable of recreating the carrier internally, there was no longer any reason to transmit it. And once engineers realized that either sideband contained the entire conversation, there was no longer any reason to transmit both. I hope this video helped you better understand what single sideband really is and why it uses so much less bandwidth than conventional AM radio. The next time you switch your transceiver to USB or LSB, I hope you'll remember you're not transmitting less of your voice. You're simply no longer transmitting information that isn't needed. This is Trevor from Telecom Training. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing and don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss future videos. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.